So we hear online, and on my channel specifically, about how sometimes men or women will be living these double lives, have a whole nother family, and have these little business trips that they have to go on for their business, but it turns out they're really just going to see their other family. Well, what makes this story so unique today? Today, the person I'm talking about not only had one secret life, he didn't have two secret lives. In fact, when he got caught, the police are having a hard time counting just how many women he tricked, and you won't believe how many babies he had. I don't even know where to begin. It started on a Tuesday, just a normal Tuesday, like any other. I was making coffee in the kitchen while David packed for another one of his monthly business trips to Minneapolis. The familiar ritual of him kissing me goodbye, telling me he would call me when he landed. And the sound of his car backing out of the driveway. 4 years of marriage and these little routines have become the scaffold of our life together. I'd noticed he seemed a bit distant lately. Not like dramatically so, just somewhere else mentally. When I'd asked about work, he would give these vague answers before changing the subject. I chalked it up to stress from his promotion, and people got distracted when they were overwhelmed, right? Well, that's what I told myself anyways. After he left, I decided to clean his home office. It's something I do whenever he's away, not because I'm snooping, but because he works from home 3 days a week and the place becomes a disaster zone of coffee mugs and scattered paper. I was vacuuming behind his desk when I noticed his filing cabinet was pulled slightly away from the wall. It had never been positioned that way before. David is meticulous about the placement of his furniture. Everything has to be in the right angle, perfectly aligned. That's just who he is. So this small irregularity caught my attention immediately. I thought maybe something had fallen behind it, one of my earrings perhaps, so I moved it further out from the wall, and that's when my hand brushed against something wedged in the gap between the cabinet and the wall. Something that felt like a book. When I pulled it out, I found myself holding a photo album. The edges were charred, like somebody had tried to burn it but changed their mind halfway through. The leather cover was warped from heat damage, but the contents inside were like 95% intact. Looking back now, I wish I never opened it. I wish I just put it back where I found it and gone about my day in a blissful ignorance. But I did open it, and nothing has been the same since. The first page held a wedding photo, my husband, David, looking younger and slightly thinner, standing next to a blonde woman in a white dress, a woman I've never seen before. A woman who looked eerily similar to me. Same height, similar face shape. Smile, even the same. Just about 10 years older. My coffee mug slipped from my hand and shattered on the hardwood floor. I barely noticed that. I was too busy flipping through the page after page of evidence of a life I knew nothing about. Family barbecues, Christmas mornings, beach vacations, all featuring my hubby. This mysterious woman, and oh gosh, a little boy who was unmistakably David's son. Same eyes, same dimpled smile, and his slightly crooked left ear. I found a birth certificate tucked between the page. Ethan Wilson. Born 12 years ago, father David Wilson, mother Catherine Wilson. There were letters too, folded carefully and preserved in plastic sheets. Childish handwriting addressed to Dad. Updates about school, even soccer games, and questions about when he was coming home next month, and drawings of stick figures labeled Mom, Dad, and me, standing in front of a house that, well, I've never seen. I don't know how long I sat there on the office floor, surrounded by coffee soaking into the carpet and pieces of someone else's life scattered around me. Long enough for the sun to shift from one side of the room to the other. Long enough for my phone to buzz with 3 missed calls from work, wondering where I was. I'd completely forgotten I had a morning meeting. Eventually, I called my sister. My voice broke as soon as she answered, and I could not form coherent sentences. All I could say was, "He has another family. He has another family." My sister came over immediately, and she's always been the practical one. While I sat there numb and disoriented, she documented everything with her phone camera. She found a folder of financial documents in the album too, including a receipt for an apartment rental in Minneapolis. Paid monthly for the past 6 years. We've only been married for 4. "Do you want some wine?" she asked after we've gone through everything. It was barely 3 p.m., but I nodded. My throat felt like I'd swallowed glass. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every memory I had of our relationship played through my mind on an excruciating loop. Our first date at the Thai restaurant, where he told me that he never felt such an immediate connection with anyone. The weekend trips to his parents' lake house, where his mother had hugged me and said that she was so happy her son had finally found the one. Our wedding day, where he cried during the vows, promising honesty and faithfulness. Had it all been a performance? How many lies had I swallowed without question? The following morning, I canceled lunch with my friends. The thought of sitting across from them pretending everything was fine while this hurricane was tearing through my life, it was impossible. Instead, I logged into our shared banking website. There they were, regular charges in Minneapolis. Children's clothing stores, movie theaters, family restaurants, all coinciding perfectly with his monthly business trip. I spent the next 3 days in a fog, barely eating, jumping every time my phone rang. My sister stayed with me. She wanted to call David to confront him right then and there, but I needed time. I needed to steady myself when I faced him. When I finally heard his key in the door yesterday, I was sitting in the living room and the photo album was on the coffee table between us. A physical manifestation of the gulf that had suddenly opened in our marriage. The look on his face when he saw it, I'll never forget. Complete drain of color, like he was seeing a ghost. He dropped his suitcase with a thud. "You weren't supposed to find that." No, I can explain. No, it's not what you think. Just the naked truth of what the discovery, was not part of his plan. Who are they? He sank in the armchair across from me with his shoulder folding inward. For a long moment he said nothing, just stared at the album like it might disappear if he looked at it hard enough. Catherine is my wife. We've been married for 15 years. Ethan is our son. He's 12. Your wife? What does that make me? He looked up then, his eyes rimmed, and he said, "You're also my wife, just not legally." The room seemed to tilt sideways. What the hell does that mean, David? How can I also be your wife? Did you ever divorce her? Was our wedding even real? The ceremony was real, he said. The paperwork? No, I couldn't file it without her finding out. I laughed, a horrible sound that did not even feel like it came from me. So, I've been living as what, your mistress for 4 years? Does she know about me? She knows I was talking to someone online. That's when the album got burnt. She found some messages and tried to burn it during a fight, but she doesn't know about it. About us. Why is it hidden behind your filing cabinet? I kept it as a reminder of what I almost lost. I didn't want to throw it away, but I could not risk you finding it. You weren't ready to know about it. I wasn't ready? Like this was some thoughtful decision he'd made for me? Your past? This isn't your past, David. This is your present. You have a wife and a son now who thinks that you're on a business trip. You have an apartment there that you've been paying for since you've met me? He broke down, sobbing in a way I've never seen him before. He tried to explain, said that he met Catherine in college and they married young. Had Ethan right away and said they've grown apart but stayed together for their son. Said that when he met online, he felt alive again for the first time in years. I love you both. She's the mother of my child, my history, but you're my future. The person I was meant to be with, and I could not bear to lose you. Either of you. I threw my wedding ring at his face. That fake wedding ring from our fake wedding, with our fake vows. It bounced off his chest and rolled under the couch, and I said, "Get out! Get the hell out!" Well, our house, he corrected quietly, which nearly sent me over the edge. My house! My name is the only legal one on the mortgage because apparently I'm the only one who was actually single when we bought it. I couldn't stay there last night. Not with all our photos on the walls mocking me, not with his clothing still in our closet, his toothbrush still in our bathroom. I packed a spin-a-night bag and went to my sister's. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that wedding photo. That child, Ethan, who had David's eyes, and I kept wondering what they've been telling me about his frequent absences. Did Catherine believe the business trip story too? Or did she have some other fiction that she lived with? This morning, I was sitting at my sister's kitchen table, staring into a mug of cold coffee when somebody started pounding on the door. My sister went to answer it, and I heard a woman's voice, angry, frantic, asking if I was there. Well, when I walked into the hallway, I found myself face to face with her. Catherine, the blonde woman from the photos, and she looked both exactly like I expected and nothing like I imagined. Older than me by maybe 8 or 9 years, but with the same build. Same hair color, though hers was natural, mine was a bottle. Similar features like David had a type. Or worse, like he's been trying to replace her with a younger version. You're supposed to be not here. You're supposed to be not alive. He told me that you passed away, is what she told me, 2 years ago from cancer. She was screaming now, mascara running down her cheeks. He even showed me the papers from your funeral, the memorial website. He took a week off for your funeral? I felt like I might throw up. I don't understand, I managed. He's been lying to both of us, is what she said with her voice dropping to a horrified whisper. I found your text on his phone last night when he was in the shower. I saw your address in the contact list. And then I saw him, a lanky boy with shaggy brown hair standing awkwardly behind his mom. Ethan, David's son in the flesh. When he noticed me looking at him, his eyes widened with recognition. Aunt Mary? And before I could respond, he rushed toward and hugged me. Aunt Mary, yeah, my middle name's Mary. I looked at Catherine over the boy's head, completely lost. Apparently, he's been showing Ethan photos of you for years, she said, her anger momentarily giving way to confusion. Told him you were my younger sister, who sometimes watches him when we're both working, and he said you lived on the West Coast, that you visit when Ethan was too young to remember. I felt my knees go weak. My sister guided us all into her living room, brought water that none of us touched, and over the next hour, Catherine and I compared notes. The identical vacation photos he's taken with both families at the same location, just years apart. The elaborate lies he'd constructed to explain his absences, and the secret bank account we discovered that he's been funneling money into, money from both households. Did he tell you I tried to off myself when I found out about the affair? Isn't that why he told me you were not on this earth anymore, to punish me, huh? 6 years ago, I found messages between you two. Or who I thought was you. He said it was just online, and it was, well, that he ended it. I believed him, and she laughed bitterly. 2 years later, he came home devastated and said his ex died from cancer. Said he needed closure and went to the funeral, and I comforted him. I actually comforted him. While we were talking, our phones buzzed simultaneously. Text messages from none other than David. I know you both found out, and I need some space to go and figure this out, okay? I'll be unreachable for quite a while. I'm sorry for the pain I've caused. I truly love you both. Catherine showed me her phone. I've already spoken to the police, she said. They want to talk to you, too. The bank records show that he's been living a double life financially as well, using both of our incomes. I would like to say I broke down right then and there, that I screamed or cried or threw things, but honestly I just felt empty, hollowed out, like whatever part of me that could feel anything that intensively had been surgically removed. Well, that was 3 weeks ago. The police have been surprisingly helpful, though not particularly optimistic about all this, about, recovering the money. David emptied our joint account before disappearing, almost $40,000 of my savings. Money I've been putting aside for the renovation we've been planning. The renovation of our home that isn't actually ours because our marriage isn't even legal. They found a third property in his name. It's a condo out in Tampa. The detectives think there might be other women, other lives, other stories he's been spinning. Every day brings some new revelation, some fresh horror that makes me question everything I thought I knew about the man I've spent the last 4 years with. Catherine and I have developed an unlikely bond through all of this. She brought Ethan over yesterday, and he's so confused, that poor child. Thinks his dad is on an extended business trip. How do you tell a child that his father has been living a double life? That the other people he thought he could trust have been lying to him for years? I received divorce papers this morning. Not from David. We were never legally married, but from an attorney in Michigan representing him, along with a handwritten letter telling me he loves me, but, quote, could not handle the pressure of disappearing anymore. I burned it in my sister's backyard fire pit, watching the edges curl and blacken just like the photo. I kept asking myself how I did this. How did I not see the signs? The separate bank accounts he insisted on maintaining for tax purposes. The business trips that always fell on the same week each month. The way that he never wanted me to call his work phone. The lack of social media presence. The mysterious work friends I never met. It was like I was looking at a jigsaw puzzle with pieces missing and decided to just imagine what the complete picture looked like, rather than admit something wasn't right. I don't know what happens next. The police say that they're close to locating him, apparently. He's been using a credit card in Canada, under yet another alias. They need me to testify about the financial fraud if they do find him, but honestly, part of me hopes that he just disappears forever, that he becomes a ghost story to Catherine and I tell each time over a glass of wine, maybe a cautionary tale for all women, a shared nightmare we eventually wake up from. I'm sorry this is getting long, I just need to get it out somewhere. To people who don't know me, who won't even look at me without that mixture of pity and morbid curiosity that I see in my friend's eyes now, I feel like I'm grieving someone who never actually existed, mourning a life that was built on quicksand. Last night, I found myself just standing in the kitchen of what I thought was our home, holding a mug that he gave me for our 2nd anniversary. It says, "To my forever." The inscription read. I smashed it against the wall, watched it shatter into a dozen jagged pieces, and it felt good. Like maybe I was finally waking up. But then I looked at the mess I made and realized I was the one who would have to clean it up, just like everything else left behind. Edit. Just as I was about to post this, the detective called. They found him living in Vancouver under the name Michael Stevens. They're bringing him in for questioning tomorrow, and get this. He's engaged to a woman there, a brunette this time, and I wonder what lies he told her. But you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm not even going to talk to him ever again. I'm going to do what the detective says. I'm going to give them everything, all the evidence that they need to finally get this man in prison, 'cause I'm done.